My name is Mike Jimenez, and this is The Acquired Taste. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. It is Tuesday. You know what that means. It is Tuesday with Teague. Carolina Teague of A League of Her Own podcast will be on in about 10 minutes or so. This is going to be a big show because we have a huge rundown. Lots of things to get into today. Again, we are live on Twitter, Facebook, and on YouTube, now available on Spotify. If you subscribe to us on YouTube, you can leave a comment on our chat line and we can read them in real time. You can be part of the show that way. But again, Carolina Teague of A League of Her Own podcast will be on in about 10 minutes or so. Joe Garcia producing today's show. How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing good. I'm just texting Carolina right now. Full disclosure, letting her know.
Let her know.
Let her know.
10 minutes out, baby. 10 minutes out. Hey, we have a big show. A lot of good news, a lot of bad news, a lot of sad news along the way. LeBron James' son, Bronny James, suffered a scary health scare and is now in the hospital. And I wonder what happens to his basketball future as a result. We now have a highest paid player in the NBA, brand new contract. Ridiculous.
Is he worth that much? That's what we're going to get into.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
A former Spurs player is now going to play for China in the FIBA tournament next month.
Man, that was a bit odd.
Yeah, has a name change to go along with it. And another former NBA player is going after Victor Wembanyama. Wemby is like a piñata these days for these old-time players. NFL training camp's getting underway. Let's predict what players are going to take a leap and what players might actually take a fall. And a woman faked her own kidnapping. The audacity of her to do so. So much money was raised. So many police officers were searching for her, and she faked it. It was a hoax, which got me thinking. And maybe if you want to be part of this conversation, you can answer this question too. Where would you go if you disappeared for 2 days and no one knew where you were at? Where would you go? Again, we're going until about 1:15 or so, but it doesn't matter if you're listening at 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, or midnight, or even on Wednesday. This is still a good show to listen to because we try not to date anything that's going on. But again, my name is Mike Jimenez, Joe Garcia producing today's show. And we do sports, pop culture, and nostalgia. But before we get going and start talking sports topics, didn't realize I was going to start a controversy on Twitter last night. My wife and I having spaghetti. She decides to make some toast along the way. She had the audacity to give me the butt end of the bread. The butt end of the bread. You know what I'm talking about. Loaf of bread, the two on the end, the two suck-ass pieces of bread.
No, man.
I looked at her as though she fell out of love with me. By the way, we may need to pull that cord again. The feedback's coming in pretty hard in my ears right now. There you go. Now I can hear myself. Very, very, very nice. Oh, it did it again. I might need to switch headsets when it's all said and done. But welcome to the show. Again, we're doing sports, pop culture, and nostalgia. Lots of people have already been chiming in right now on our YouTube chat line. I do have a poll out on Twitter asking the question, the butt end of the bread, delicious or disgusting? Before I get to the poll results so far, Joe, you for or against the butt of the bread?
No, man, the butt of the bread is actually good. Like that's where you put the wiener if you're Mexicano, you know.
Oh.
You eat your wiener like that, you know. Some mustard on it, you know. That's how the raza eat it, man.
That's the thing, man. I am not the biggest fan, and I'm glad to find out that I'm not the only one because 70 people have voted so far. 56%. I put this poll out half an hour ago. And 56% of the people so far say disgusting. They agree with me. Tim Gonzalez reaches out to us on YouTube, says, yesterday was J-Lo's birthday, man. She turned 54. Speaking of butts, went from the butt of the bread to, you know, one of the nicest butts ever in Hollywood history, Jennifer Lopez. Happy 54. So think about that. Sofia Vergara is 51. Jennifer Lopez is 54. And Salma Hayek is 56. And you can argue that all three have never looked better. I mean, that is Latina blood right there, man.
Yeah, man.
Right there. Chris Gonzalez reaches out and says, the butts of the bread, only old people eat them. That is true. That is true. Now, some people are going to call me bougie when it comes to this, and maybe it is. But it is the year 2023. You would think that the butt of the bread would be gone, right? Why can't it just be the good slices from the front to the back? Why do they got to bookend it with that crappy slice of bread? I don't understand it. And when my wife gave that to me, I was disappointed. I was like, wait, you don't love me? Why are you giving me this slice out of all the slices that are there?
Maybe it was punishment for leaving the dogs out, man.
Oh, dude, that's been months, man. I posted photos yesterday on Twitter of my dogs hanging out in the front. They love the fact that I work from home. Because after this show, we end here around 1:15.
Yeah.
I am home by 1:45, and the dogs are inside the entire time. I will let you know they're outside right now because, well, they got to do their business, and they can't be indoors all day.
They got to do their dog things.
But they were indoors from 8 to 11:30. So they've been taken care of today. Okay, I'm a good dog owner. I don't care what anybody thinks. Now, the breaking news this morning, though, was the fact that we now have a new highest paid player in the NBA. And when I think of highest paid player in the NBA, I would think maybe it would be Nikola Jokic, right? Maybe Jokic because he's, two-time MVP, finals MVP, finals champion, led Denver to the NBA finals. No. Is it Giannis? No. Is it a young gun like Luka Doncic? Is it LeBron James? The most points scored in NBA history? No. Today, July 25th, 2023, the highest paid player in the NBA is now officially Jalen Brown of the Boston Celtics. Don't get me wrong. I like Jalen Brown, and I wish he was a Spur, but not at that price. Yeah, I know he averages 26 points per game, and I know that he's a young stud out there. But Jalen Brown signing a 5-year deal for $304 million, a contract that starts at $52 million in year 1 and then balloons to $69 million by year 5. Jalen Brown is the highest paid player in the NBA, and I don't get it. He's not even the best player on his own team. That's Tatum.
I don't get it, man. Like $304 million. It's a supermax extension per Shams Charania. And the thing is that it's fully guaranteed. And there's the fully guaranteed with a trade kicker, no player option.
Dude, I mean, this was somebody who was obviously asking for this extension, right? And he was asking for the potential of a trade. You can argue that Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown don't mix well together. They're both great young players, and they're probably both in the top 20 when it comes to like talent in the NBA. So I'm not saying that Jalen Brown's a scrub. He's actually a very good player. But the idea that he's the highest paid player in the NBA right now is a joke. Just because it's his turn. It's an absolute joke. And they're going to be paying him $69 million 5 years from now. That is ridiculous. David reaching out and saying, Wemby will get $500 million. Just wait. Probably will. Probably will, because the max extension 4 years from now, if Wemby actually is the truth, would require the Spurs to pay that much money. And Spurs fans are not used to the team spending that much money for players. I mean, right now, who's the highest paid Spur?
Jeez.
Is it Keldon?
I would think it would be Keldon Johnson.
Keldon at $18 million is the highest paid Spur, or $20 million, or whatever he's at.
And then his contract kind of tapers off the longer it goes on, in years. In years, I think it was 3 and 4. He kind of like tapers off a little bit.
It does taper off. And yeah, I'm looking at it right now. This year, the Spurs' highest paid player is Keldon Johnson. $20 million this year, $18 million next year, and then it drops to 17.5. Doug McDermott is the Spurs' second highest player at 13, followed by Wemby at 12, and then Devontae Graham at 12. But think about that, man. Jalen Brown, supermax extension, 5 years, $304 million, fully guaranteed. Not even the best player on his own team. What's going to happen when it's Tatum's turn? And what we're finding out right now is that players right now, the NBA is becoming this place where 2 or 3 players get paid, and then they try to fill out the roster with a bunch of scrubs. And the Spurs are going to try to go at it a different way with 1 star and a bunch of decent players making 12 to 15 million. That's what's going on.
The thing is, too, is like what's dictating the asking price for Jalen Brown? Is it they're trying to forecast that with the CBA changing, and
that more money will be there.
Money will be there, yes. But then are they predicting that his caliber of player is going to be warranted this amount of money in the future, and they think by giving him this amount of money now, they're going to save money in the long term.
That it's going to be a deal later on.
Yeah.
But it's like this in football. You see this, Lamar Jackson is the highest paid player in the NFL right now. He's not even the best quarterback out there.
True
He's
enough.
probably number 4 or 5 or 6 on the list when it comes to it. And that's the thing. It's always resetting the market when it's somebody's turn.
Yeah.
And it's so ridiculous to hear that. But Jalen Brown, who if I had to name the top 10 players in the NBA right now, Jalen Brown would not even be in my top 10. He'd be in my top 20.
Are you going to build a team around Jalen Brown?
No. Jalen Brown isn't even a foundational player. He's a great number 2 player on a team. If he was to go to the Houston Rockets, he would not take the Rockets to a 50-win team. He is not a foundational player. He's a very good player. He's an all-star. He's a perennial all-star.
Yeah.
But he's not a superstar. Dude, if he is worth $60 million a year, what is Giannis worth?
Well, more importantly, what is Jason Tatum worth?
Exactly. Same team. The exact same freaking team.
So what's he going to say when his contract is going to be due? Hey, you paid him $304 million, but I'm your franchise superstar. How much are you going to give me?
And one of our listeners, who, by the way, you can follow along on YouTube, saying Wemby's going to get $500 million. Dude, if Wemby is a 3 or 4-time All-Star, if Wemby is Rookie of the Year and all of that, damn straight he is.
Yeah.
That's the max deal. And you can actually spend more to keep your own player. So the Spurs could spend more than what the Lakers can or the Knicks can or whomever, the Heat or whomever. But Jalen Brown, congratulations to you, my man. You hit the lottery, baby. You hit the lottery. Now, you were telling me before I sat down, like literally 15 minutes ago, you were like, hey, did you watch the boxing match? And I was like, no, man. I wasn't up at 4 a.m. like Fernandez was watching boxing. Were you up at 4 a.m. watching this? Or was this just highlights that you saw later on?
No, I watched it, man. I watched it.
What time did it start?
Oh, man, I think it was yesterday. It might have been. I don't remember. It was a blur to me because I was up till like 2, 3 in the morning, like doing editing and all this other stuff. I was up, man.
Yeah, so Stephen Fulton got his bell rung.
Oh, yeah, by Ione. Ione is now the undisputed bantam heavyweight. Not heavyweight. Well, it's like a featherweight division, basically, but it was a vicious KO, man. I mean, the kid delivered a vicious KO in the 8th round to Fulton. And it was something, man. They called the kid Ione the monster for a reason.
Yeah.
He is 25-0, 22 of those wins by KO.
Man, I thought the referee was going to get knocked out himself because he jumped in the middle like no more.
Yeah.
Ione going out there and swinging probably about 40 punches in a row. I think Fulton had 1 punch that he threw just trying to get him off of him. And then the referee stood the way. It was like, no more, man, no mas. Threw the towel in for Fulton. But congratulations. And to those who stayed up late to watch, you know, I like boxing. I like a good boxing match, dude. Boxing is like my thing. I'm not an MMA guy. I just don't get into it. I'll watch the big MMA fights, the pay-per-view ones, but I'm not going to watch just regular plain Jane UCF MMA type stuff. Just not going to do it. But boxing, man, when boxing is good, boxing is really good.
Well, the bantamweights and the featherweight divisions, those are really the ones that kind of deliver. You know, when you're looking at that type of boxing that you want, where it's all action-packed and they're just going out and just throwing haymakers, man, landing punches. It's exciting to watch. And these are going to be your lighter weight fighters, you know, not your middleweights, not your super heavyweights. It's, you know, these are the guys that are more mobile out there. So they really put on a show, and it's exciting to watch. And, you know, kudos to Top Rank for actually putting that on, because they could have easily said, hey, this is going to be a pay-per-view match. But, hey, they delivered a great one.
Now, Carolina Teague will join us in a few minutes or so. Wants you to send her the link by email, saying that Twitter's have given her some issues. So Elon Musk is apparently preventing her from jumping on board. But we were talking about boxing and that fight last night. Dude, I remember the days of Mickey Ward. You know, The Fighters, one of my favorite movies with Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale. I love that movie so much. I watch that movie probably once every 2 months or so, easily. Amy Adams is also in that movie. Great movie. But there's something about that level there. Don't get me wrong, I like watching the heavyweights, but I like the fighters between 135 and 175, talking about back in the day of Sugar Ray Leonard and Thomas Hitman Hearns and Marvelous Marvin Hagler, going up to when we would watch San Antonio's Jesse James Leija, Oscar De La Hoya. Those were the great ones, man. Jonathan C. saying Ward versus Gotti, great fights.
Yeah.
Man, that was 3 of them. And every once in a while, I'll go on YouTube and I'll call up those fights. And it's just so wonderful to watch, dude. So wonderful to watch.
That was the golden era of boxing, man.
Yeah, and then you go on to the Manny Pacquiao's of the world. Floyd Mayweather Jr. was trash. I couldn't stand watching any fight that he did. Floyd Mayweather cost me so much money, not because I bet against him. It's because I would buy these pay-per-view fights, or I would go and pay entry fee to some bar like Nice Rack over there on I-10 and Wurzbach or whatever. I'd go over there to go watch a fight, and it'd be over like super fast because he cheated. Remember that one time he pretended to touch gloves with the guy, and then he knocked that guy out?
Yeah, well, Floyd wasn't really known for his knockout power. The thing is that, yeah, most of his fights would kind of go the distance, but the thing with Floyd is you had to catch him first.
Yeah.
So that's all it was.
All he did was run the entire.
Running after him.
Yeah,
running after him.
Just running after him. It was awful. It was bad times. Hey, but do you know who's the heavyweight when it comes to concrete? That would be MCS General Contracting. We're going to put their number up right now, 210-774-9155. Again, that's 210-774-9155. MCS General Contracting. More than 30 years of experience in concrete placement. And Chris Leija, our guy, our friend of the show, is a big part of this organization here. It's a family-run operation, honest pricing, high-quality work. They do house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks, patio extensions. If you're in a business, the parking lots, the foundations, the slabs, all of that stuff, you can turn to MCS General Contracting for your needs at 210-774-9155. Our good friend JJ Guarena was talking to us the other day saying, if you are building a business and you're trying to lay things out, the parking lot might very well be the most important thing that you do, because it kind of dictates the flow of traffic going in and out of your business. And again, MCS General Contracting can make this happen for you. Established in 2010. They do a fantastic job. 210-774-9155. Thank you again to Chris Leija, who's a big part of this show because he comments a lot on what we do. Big supporter of the Acquired Taste Network and MCS General Contracting. Thank you so much for being a sponsor of the Acquired Taste. Carolina Teague is with us right now. It is Tuesday. Tuesdays with Teague from A League of Her Own podcast. CT wearing pink like Barbie. What's going on, CT?
Mad at Twitter because I got locked out.
Screw Elon.
They shadow banned her?
No, I wasn't shadow banned. I'm not as bad as Jimenez is, but I definitely got locked out. I was trying to log into the podcast, couldn't remember my password, and then they suspicious activity me, and then I put in my information, and then they said it'll take a few days for them to get back to me. I was like, a few days? I don't have time for a few days. But then luckily I was still logged into my phone app, and then I realized, oh my God, I could join. So then then Joe sent me the link, and we figured it all out. But I can speak. But from my desktop, I am banned currently. Yeah, so definitely.
Oh man.
Even with the technical difficulties today, we're on the go, baby. No one knows. It's just us. There's no more feedback. We figured out the whole Twitter thing. Just sending you the link by email. This is all going as planned, baby.
I had to send the email and that's the thing too. It threw me off for a little bit. I was like, is this Carolina? I was like, oh yeah, that's her government name.
That's her government name. We talked about that with Katie Goodman because we called Katie Catherine the other day. Yeah. And she goes, and we had to tell her that's what Carolina T calls your government name.
Government name.
Because her email was Catherine at whatever. And it was like, so that's kind of funny. I just noticed I got a text message right now from Joe that says, the show starts in 3 minutes, right? I was outside. I was walking on in. Okay. I usually get here 30 to 45 minutes before the show starts. And it was like 3 minutes before, and I'm walking in. I'm putting everything on, so sorry about that, Joe.
That's okay. I was just trying to keep you straight, man. It's like, you want me to hit go and you're gonna just walk in? That's
big
fine.
Time.
Yeah,
am I big time?
Big time, dude.
I ended up seeing Barbie House. That's why I'm wearing pink. I forgot to tell you, I saw Barbie House, and I'm currently having allergic reactions to the Saharan dust. I just wanted to tell everybody that I am severely allergic to dust. And this whole weekend knocked me out, even when I was watching Barbie movie, because I am deathly allergic to dust. And when my friends told me that Saharan dust was coming into San Antonio, it was like, what the hell is that? Am I going to die? Because I'm scared.
Now, real fast, letter grade on Barbie. Give us a letter grade.
Oh my God. B+, but I'm a woman.
Oh,
there you go.
man.
There you go. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to watch it this weekend. I promise you I am.
Hey, if you're going to go watch it, you're going to wear pink?
Oh, of course I will. I am not one of those guys who's like,
yeah,
oh, pink is a girly color. That's not what an alpha would wear.
Well,
oh
pink,
my God.
Well, guys don't wear pink. We wear salmon.
Salmon. No. I have, and my wife gives me crap about it because my favorite tie to wear, and I used to wear, shirts and ties and suits and all that to work all the time. And doing what I do for a living, I realized over time that people don't want that anymore. People want to be real. So I just wear polos and slacks these days, right? But back when I would wear a suit and tie every day, Justin Timberlake style, I would wear a pink tie a lot. Like pink ties were all part of my rotation, probably 2 out of 5 days out of the week. I love pink ties. I wasn't wearing a pink shirt or a pink suit, but the accent, with the pocket square and all that, it looks pretty good on brown skin. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, we got a comment here for you, Carolina. Jason Garcia, a good friend of the show. He says, will Carolina ever wrestle in RCW? Well, that's up to you. You answer that.
I'm going to wrestling practice today, and I might go on Thursday. So I am doing some fun stuff with wrestling soon. And I'm not afraid to kick anyone's ass, especially anybody. I'm sorry, David, your allergies are bad. I feel your pain 100%. But yeah, for me, I'm going to be a part of, something soon. And I am practicing really, really hard. And I don't take anything the wrestlers do lightly. Even me taking a simple bump is a lot of hard work. And it takes wrestlers over 1 year to 2 years to get in the ring for the first time. So it's nothing light. And it is Taco Tuesdays. Jimenez, real quick about pink. I think it's so sexy when men have the balls to wear pink.
There you go.
So the fact that you're wearing pink, you're not afraid. There were so many men watching the Barbie movie that were dressed in pink to support their wives. So yeah, wear pink. Pink is sexy. And I think it takes a lot of masculinity for a man to wear the color pink. And by the way, I heard your take on what you like in boxing between 135, I think, to 170. That is a huge range, Jimenez. That's a huge
No, that goes from De La Hoya, Leija all the way up to the middleweight class. That's what I like, man. There's a certain, because they kick each other's asses there. It's not a slow science. It's not.
Those are the big boys.
Yeah,
man.
I don't want to see the 225. I don't want to see Klitschko. I don't want to see any of these guys that are just, trying to hit somebody with one punch and knock them out. I want to see a flurry of 15 punches in 3 seconds. I want it to be where it's like the guy from the Matrix, where he's trying to punch Neo, and the hand is the fist is going.
They're all moving all over the place.
Yeah, I want to see that type of fight. The second best fight though, Fiesta fights.
Oh man, the Fiesta Sucia fights.
You know what?
I'm 1-0 in Fiesta fights, by the way.
Fiesta fights are 10 out of 10 because how many fights were you're 1-0, right? I think we talked about it before. You're 1-0 in Fiesta fighting, and you had to really step up, and we really had to show, what our blood is really made of. Because I've gotten into a Fiesta fight before. I feel like it's a rite of passage in San Antonio. You have to get into a fight at Fiesta if you want to be rolled into Fiesta culture in San Antonio. You are not San Antonio if you have not been into a fight.
I agree. Chris Gonzalez saying, but we only wear pink on Wednesday. That's a man that's seen Mean Girls. That is a man who has seen Mean Girls. Love it. I want my pink shirt back. That was for you, Chris Gonzalez. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and we're also available later today on Spotify. So however you consume us, thank you so much for that. But again, if you are watching us on YouTube, you can leave a comment and we can read them in real time. Now, Carolina, scary story this morning. And it was one of those things that dropped around 10:30 this morning. And I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe this happened. LeBron James' son, Bronny James, who is supposed to be a first-round draft pick in the upcoming draft next year, suffered cardiac arrest and was rushed to the hospital. He rushed to the hospital. Apparently, he's in stable condition. He'll survive all this. my goodness, man. Just hearing the phrase cardiac arrest again, it happened to DeMar Hamlin on Monday Night Football last year. Your thoughts on this happening to Bronny James and LeBron James's family?
I mean, honestly, it's really heartbreaking, and it's every parent's worst nightmare. I mean, screw the fact that Bronny and LeBron want to play on the same team. When these events occur, everything just goes out the window, and you just want your son to be okay. So right now, my prayers and thoughts are with Bronny James, the James family, everybody who loves him and is surrounding him, just making sure he's okay. It's a little bit strange that a young teenager would have to go through something like this at such a young age. And I know people are going to be speculating as to what happened, but as of right now, I think all that matters is that Bronny is going to be okay.
You know, crazy things like this happen from time to time. I mean, I, as a high school basketball official, have seen incidents happen where people have heart conditions on the basketball court, and I've been a witness to that in the past. Bronny James, according to CBS Sports' most recent mock draft for 2024, is supposed to go right around number 13. This is a guy that is about 12 months away from living his NBA dream to follow in the footsteps of his dad, who's arguably one of the 5 greatest players in NBA history. And the pressure that comes with being his son. And he's 18 years old, has never played a game in college, playing for USC, same city as his dad plays the NBA, right? LA. But the thing is to hear him go down like that. And I don't know what we're going to see in that, or whether or not anybody's even interested in that, because I'm sure there's video of things, this, that, and the other going on. It is a private institution there at USC, though. But I just feel so bad for him, because what I would hate is for us to find out weeks from now that he can't play ever again. And sometimes you see the NFL combine where there's 1 or 2 players. It seems like every year or every other year that get told, hey, you have a heart condition that you're not aware of. You shouldn't be playing in the NFL. And they up and end their dreams right on the spot. I would hate for that to happen to Bronny James, but just to let you know, one of the first to tweet out to him was DeMar Hamlin of the Buffalo Bills. DeMar Hamlin, who literally died or had flatlined on the football field on Monday Night Football while we were all watching, was brought back with a defibrillator and is coming back to the NFL. He tweeted out there, quote, "Prayers to Bronny and the James family as well. Here for you guys, just like you've been for me my entire process." And it's sad. And this might actually affect his draft stock if he does come back, because I mean, wouldn't you be suspect of or hesitant about drafting somebody who has a heart condition? He might go from a top 15 pick to a player that's a second rounder to maybe one that is never picked at all if he is allowed to return to the court.
Yeah, and you know what? Paul Cantu said, here comes the jab talk. That stuff is already happening. There's a ton of people who said it's because he had the COVID shot as a young child. They've seen an increase in a lot of kids in youth league sports going under cardiac arrest, because in the state of California, you are required to get this shot in order to play indoor sports as a kid. So that talk is already happening, and people blaming the shot for the reason why this happened. But the reality is nobody really knows what happened. And hopefully the right testing occurs. Like Matthew had said in the comments, Shaq's kid went under, had heart surgery, and he's still playing. As a matter of fact, if you're talking about Sharif, he was at NBA Summer League. I saw him, and he looked like he was in great shape. But for me, all that matters is that he should be okay. But it doesn't surprise me that the jab talk is already occurring. And then there's also the parenting talk. They're already scrutinizing LeBron and saying they pushed Bronny too far because he has more of a defensive back build than an NBA basketball player build. So that criticism is going to come, which is the unfortunate side of what happened. But I'm glad he's okay.
Yeah, we had someone, Mario Cavazos, reaching out to us right now saying R.I.P. Reggie Lewis, who played for the Boston Celtics. Died of cardiac arrest. He was just 27 years old when that happened back in 1993. I remember that happening. That's why I think the whole jab talk is just kind of whatever. That they will say that for whatever reason. But we've seen this happen before. We've seen this happen with a Reggie Lewis. This isn't the first person who's had cardiac arrest during a basketball practice. I've seen it happen. I've seen cardiac arrest happen at one of my games that I've officiated. It happens from time to time because we don't know the medical background of these people. We don't know what they've done. We don't know if he's had a heart condition before because it's none of our business. And that's the thing. The LeBron James and his family, through a spokesperson, has said that they want privacy at this time.
Yeah, Shamshar and I actually was the one who put up the statement from LeBron James and his family. And they were just saying LeBron and Savannah wish to publicly send their deepest thanks and appreciation to the USC medical and athletic staff for their incredible work and dedication to the safety of their athletes. So they were also asking, to give them some time, to go ahead and, I guess, process the whole thing, and they just want some privacy. I mean, it's their kid, Mm-hmm. We look at LeBron James, and of course he's internationally known and all that, but he's still a father who's concerned about his child, And
then remember Hank Gathers passing away in the early 90s as well, if I'm not mistaken, during the 1990 WCC tournament. He was just 23 years old. So that's the thing, is that we could name other times that this has happened, pre-COVID, post-COVID, that you've seen cardiac arrest happen. It just gets amplified with the last name being James. If it was just somebody who played for USC that no one knew, that it wasn't LeBron James's family, no one would care. It's not that no one would care. It just wouldn't be as big of a story, And that's the thing. And I hope he's still able to live his NBA dream because at this point, I know it's trivial to say draft stock, but I'm sure as he's laying in a hospital bed right now recovering, that dream is not gone yet. I'm sure he still wants to play in the NBA like his dad did. And it's just one of those things where, it might be more difficult. The road to getting back might be more difficult. Maybe he doesn't play college this year. And if he doesn't play college this year, then what happens? Does he lose his scholarship? Does he, what happens next?
It could have just been a freak accident too. Maybe a combination of things, fatigue and dehydration. Maybe he's taking some supplements. All these things mixed together kind of help produce this cardiac arrest that he suffered, So the doctors hopefully will go ahead and figure it all out. And maybe, Bronny will go on to experience a very great NBA career.
Yeah, the Hank Gathers issue involved medication as well.
Yeah.
So it was something that he shouldn't have been prescribed or something to that effect, if I'm not mistaken. Talking to Carolina Teague of A League of Her Own podcast. Don't forget, by the way, not only to subscribe to Carolina Teague and her podcast, because I watch it. She goes on weekly with her show. And I've been on the show one time, so thank you for having me on there. But I want to remind people to subscribe to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. I subscribe on Spotify. I subscribe on YouTube as well because he also has a YouTube channel. Dude, Locked On Spurs, you can now see his face. You can see Moneybags. You can see his face while he's doing the Locked On Spurs podcast. It was always just an audio thing, but now there's a video file that goes along with it.
We can always show his face here too.
There you go. Moneybags, my man. I love you some Jeff Garcia. He's a good guy. He's a very good reporter for Ken's 5. He has a couple of stories we need to talk about real fast. In the past 12 hours, he's reported several stories, but one of them, which I believe was from last night, was the fact that a former Spur, Kyle Anderson, slow-mo, is going to play for China in the FIBA World Cup Championships this summer. And apparently, do you have the sound, by the way, of him?
Yeah,
Can you find it real fast? Let me introduce this real fast. He now has Chinese citizenship as of yesterday, and it sounds like he has a name change, though I don't know if this is going to be in the NBA as well. But here is the artist formerly known as Kyle Anderson.
Yeah, let's get this going.
Hello, fans in China. This is Li Kaya. I'm so happy to announce that I will be representing China in the World Cup. Really proud and honored to wear the Team China jersey. Make sure to follow my Weibo account. I will check and update my Weibo often. Thank you, everyone.
Now, okay. So he refers to himself as both, as Li Kao He refers to himself as Kyle Anderson. And it got me thinking, not to get all political, okay, because we went too far off the deep end last week, but not to get political, but asking the question about American-born players who are playing for other countries. The reason why Kyle Anderson was able to play for China was because his maternal great-grandfather was Chinese, which my math says that makes him like 1/16th or something to that effect, 1/32nd Chinese. But he was able to do that. And then we saw years ago, Becky Hammon played for Russia. So that being said, Carolina, are you okay with these American-born players not representing the red, white, and blue?
Yeah, do what you got to do. Get the bag, get the money, honey. And I think what he probably was asking was, where's the cash at? Because according to news sources, Kyle Anderson found out there was a peep of Chinese ancestry. And for the FIBA World Cup, normally in Chinese basketball rules, you cannot have dual citizenship. You have to denounce your American citizenship. And they don't have any information on whether that happened, but I'm all for it. If that's where the money's at, by all means, go to China. If you can claim anything based off your ancestry, claim it. Walk into your Russian greatness. Even I want to get an ancestry test soon because I want to find out my roots, because I know I'm Mexican, okay? That's my culture, where we come from. But I want to know where my roots are. I heard rumors that there's some Irish in me. I heard there's some rumors that there's Spanish in me. Where am I from? I want to know. And as soon as I find out, you better believe I'll be like, well, I got like 5% Irish in me.
You know what's funny? You're saying that, Carolina, and the thing that I'm going to wind up doing this summer is me, my wife, and my sister-in-law are all going to get the 23andMe done.
Yeah.
Because my sister-in-law and my wife they look different than everybody else in their family. So they're like, we want to find out if we're truly related to our siblings or not. I said, y'all are just starting some family drama out of nowhere, kind of like the Kardashian thing. I'm just like, y'all are crazy. But either way, I tell her, we're about to find out. We about to find out.
Our good friend Mike Taylor told us on the show a couple weeks ago that he has a higher percentage than normal of Neanderthal.
Yeah, because he said he had the pointy teeth,
Yeah, like I feel like, where am I from? Because like people have told me I look Greek before. People have told me I look Italian. People have told me I look Spanish. So I just want to know where people from. That's what I want.
You Mexican girl. You
Yeah.
Mexican. Just
she
call
likes
it what it is.
She likes her bean and cheese, man.
So bad.
I know she likes her some bean and cheese. She's Latina.
You want 5% of a different country so that you can claim it and like
claim it. Oh, and I want 2% Indian, because shout out to all my Indians. I love Indians, and like the ones from America, the ones that we go deep dive.
Native American.
This country was stolen from them. I want reparations too. So hopefully one of that is too for me. Shout out to all my Indians. I love y'all. Y'all my people for real. So
well, I'm part native. I'm part native, Carolina.
Native.
I'm
there we go.
Apache.
Native. I use the wrong word. See, I need to get used to the lingo if I am native. You see what I'm saying? So
I've been told that I'm part coconut, but
man.
We'll go on to a different topic now. But here's the thing: Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5 is also reporting that another former NBA player is going after our franchise guy, Victor Wembanyama. Who the hell is Olden Polynice? Okay.
Oh, man.
Okay, Olden Polynice, I recognize the name. Okay?
He's still around?
Okay, Olden Polynice is somebody who played in the NBA for a long, long time. He was a first-round draft pick by the Chicago Bulls in 1987. He played for the Sonics, the Clippers, the Pistons, the Kings, back to the Sonics, the Jazz.
He's a journeyman.
And then he played these, G League type of things going on, semi-pro. That's just what he did. He's a lifer when it comes to it all.
Shanghai Sharks, did he make a round over there?
Did not make a round over there, but he played for the Las Vegas Slam, Grand Rapids Hoops, Pennsylvania Valley Dogs, the Gary Steelheads, the Long Beach Jam, Michigan Mayhem, the LA Aftershock. Okay, this guy has seen a lot of basketball. But at the same time, he hasn't been in the NBA in almost 20 years. But that being said, going out there and saying that Victor Wembanyama's ceiling is that of Shawn Bradley.
No, Lord, man.
Because Shawn Bradley is tall too. Shawn Bradley played 20 some odd years ago and was a bit of a scrub. And then we heard this from Tim Hardaway Jr., right? By the way, is Tim Hardaway a Hall of Famer? I heard that he is.
I think he is, man.
Why? I mean, not to be a hater.
Things.
I grew up in the 90s too. But when I think of greatest,
deal, maybe that's why.
It's this though. It's the Basketball Hall of Fame is different.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't have to have the actual accolades. I guess it's your contributions to the game and all these other factors that go in it as well.
When I think of the greatest point guards of the 90s, Tim Hardaway does not come to mind.
Yeah, and he's in a I think it was you that said he's a UTEP alum.
Yeah.
So,
you take a look at UTEP 85 to 89.
There you go.
14th overall pick by the Golden State Warriors. I don't know. He was a good player. 5-time All-Star.
Best trash talker in the business.
Dude, if he's an All-Star, if he's a Hall of Famer, LaMarcus Aldridge is a Hall of Famer.
No.
LaMarcus Aldridge has more All-Star appearances than this dude.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Hardaway is not a Hall of Famer. Olden Polynice, bite me. He wasn't even a good player. Olden Polynice was just a backup's backup.
Yeah.
And to come out and say that he's going to be Shawn Bradley, Carolina, your thoughts when you see all these players from the past trying to come out and make a name for themselves on Fox Sports to talk trash
was
about
it that
Wemby.
stupid? Was it the Carter Show or some dumb show that they got?
Yeah.
Well, when I hear these players think about, talk poorly about Victor Wembanyama, I've done a lot of research on emotional intelligence because that's what I've been into the past few years. And the first thing that stands to me out is like projection. How you feel about your way inwardly is kind of how you project the world to be and how you perceive it to be. Victor Wembanyama has not played one game in the NBA, and people are already making these assumptions about it. So they already perceive him to be a failure before he even plays one game in the NBA. So that says more about them than it says about Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama, the facts are he is working really hard on his game. He does want to be one of the best. He's in the Spurs system. He's being trained under Coach Popovich, who, by the way, if you guys don't remember, he was able to build up Tim Duncan, the greatest power forward of all time, depending on who you ask. So then you have him being able to coach David Robinson. He's in a good system where he wants to be, where he belongs. So this is all projection. And since we're on the topic of Tim Hardaway, let me just say this. He's a good basketball player, Hall of Famer, whether you like it or not, that's up to you guys. But one of my good friends, Walt Chisholm, he's a beat reporter for the Dallas Mavericks, goes to all the games. When I spoke to him about Tim Hardaway and his comments towards Victor Wembanyama, these words came out of his mouth, and I think that he hit the spot on the head. He said, if Tim Hardaway wants to criticize Victor Wembanyama, he's not the person to do it because his son, Tim Hardaway Jr., I have to watch him on the court do a poor job for the Dallas Mavericks. So if anybody's here to judge players, it shouldn't be Tim Hardaway because he has poor judgment with his son's skills as well.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Tim Hardaway was a good player.
Definitely.
Olden Polynice was good enough to be in the league for a decade.
Yeah, he was one of those supporting cast.
But neither one of them have the tools that Victor Wembanyama has. And here's the thing. I would hope that Wemby gathers all of this as motivation, as bulletin board material to say, hey, look, all of these guys from the past are coming out and saying that I'm going to be a scrub, that I'm not even going to be an all-star, that I'm all hype. I hope that he takes that and internalizes it and comes out with a big FU attitude. And the thing that we hear about Victor Wembanyama is that he has a bit of a swagger to him, that kind of a mentality of like, I'm not going to be pushed around. We saw him play 2 games in the summer league. The first game, he was all out of sorts, whirlwind, all eyes on him. The second game, we got to see the reason why the Spurs got him and why he's considered to be a generational talent. He's getting some rest right now. He's lifting weights right now. I like that Wemby is out of the picture for the next month or so. But that being said, all of these players right now, Tim Hardaway, Olden Polynice, all of these guys going out there are trying to make a name for themselves. They are doing this contrived BS because I know in their heart of hearts, they don't believe that. And if they do believe that, then they're stupid. To come out and say, Olden Polynice come out and say, well, these international players, when they get to the NBA, it's just, they don't really have that success. The hell are you talking about? The 5 best players in the NBA right now are international players. This isn't 1998. This isn't Dream Team with Angola. The best players in the NBA right now are coming from overseas. Giannis, Jokic, Doncic. All of them.
I've noticed that some players have an inferiority complex when it comes to international players, and they get critiqued a lot harder than American players. I've been noticing that.
American players are soft. That's why I like the international players. They're soft.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think this is going to be a year that we see a couple of leaps in the Spurs team. We're going to see a leap from Devin Vassell this year. We're going to see a leap from Jeremy Sohan, because Sohan doesn't have to do everything anymore. If he focuses on what he's good at, and there's certain things that he's really good at, just get great at that. Dude, he'll be fine. He'll be perfectly fine. Yes, I said something nice about Sohan.
Yeah, I was like, where is the mic on? Like, what's going on?
Talking to Carolina Teague of A League of Her Own podcast. Now, Jeff Garcia did have another article today. By the way, follow him on Ken's 5 and on Locked On Spurs, the podcast, and also the YouTube channel. Olden Polynice. Okay, end of the bench kind of player. Tim Hardaway was a 5-time All-Star. Can't believe he's a Hall of Famer, but whatever. But there is a legend that has come out today and said that Victor Wembanyama is going to be a stud, that he's expecting a lot of good things from him. And that player that I trust even more is Earvin Magic Johnson. Magic saying that Wemby's going to be must-watch TV this year, that he's great for the NBA, and that he's going to be a special player. I believe what Magic has to say, not Olden Polynice.
Magic is on point sometimes. Like, well, I haven't seen all his takes, but I trust Magic Johnson more than anything because he lived that life. He was a superstar.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure one superstar can tell who the next superstar is going to be. And a lot of superstars have come out to say that he is going to be great. And I think that Victor Wembanyama should not worry about the haters, whether it's people that are alumni of the NBA either. He should just focus on the positives instead of the negatives. And that's what we should all do in life. We should all focus on the positives instead of the negatives.
Wemby hasn't even played a game yet. Has not even played a game yet. He'll be perfectly fine out there. Talking to Carolina Teague of A League of Her Own podcast. Again, follow her on Twitter, follow her on Instagram, Facebook, follow her on her podcast as well on YouTube. This whole Wemby talk, I cannot wait. I think the Spurs are going to have a really good season. I think the Spurs are going to win 46 games this year. I was right when I said that they were a 20-win team last year. Okay, they got down to 22. It was close. But I think the Spurs are a 46-win team this year. I cannot wait for it. Real fast, buy me a coffee.
Oh, yeah. Put that.
I want to say a shout-out. Thank you to certain people out there. Miguel Vela, Charlie Hernandez, Renee Miller, Jason Garcia, Chris Leja, Chris Moreno, Memo Rodriguez, and some listeners who go by Ramin Cole and Simple Vic have all contributed to the Buy Me a Beer. So, Joe, explain what Buy Me a Beer is.
Buy Me a Beer is basically a tip. If you like what we're doing, you kind of want to give us a tip and support the show, you buy us a beer. I believe the beers cost $5 each.
Yeah.
So anytime somebody sends us a tip, man, we greatly appreciate y'all's support. And like you all even came together to go ahead and help us help Katie Goodman. So our fans here are a great group of people, and really we appreciate the comments, the support, and everything else you all do for us.
Our listeners also, they rallied together. You mentioned the whole thing for Katie Goodman. $200 raised.
That's a good amount.
$200 raised.
That helped pay for her
I'm so proud of Katie. I'm so proud of Katie she's going to be crushing it at the World Cup, and I cannot wait. The Women's World Cup. And I actually talked to Katie in January, and I had a pep talk with her, and I was like, I can see you covering the World Cup. Like, yeah. you do this. Like, I remember thinking that. I told her, and for her to be doing it less than 6 months later, I'm like, dude, I felt it. Like, I told her, I sent her a text before she went on her flight, and I was like, I felt you could cover the World Cup. So the fact that, she's doing it now, I'm so proud of her, and that you guys came together to help her out with her expenses. That was awesome.
I have conversations with her on air and off air. And I tell her both the same thing on air and off air. She's a star. She's an absolute star. And she just needed the opportunity. And now she's going to be rubbing shoulders with those people from Fox Sports. If you follow Katie Goodman on Instagram or on Twitter, you see that she's already posting photos of her in Australia already. It's a great experience for her. She's not going to be in front of the camera, but she's rubbing shoulders with people who know people who know people. And that is the thing. This is her opportunity. And the listeners of the Acquired Taste are being a part of this because, again, we rallied together to raise $200 for her to get her passport because she was told this at the last minute. And she was stressing out about it. She was like, that's a lot of money. And I don't want her to miss out on an opportunity because she can't afford it. You know what I'm saying? Katie Goodman is a very, very good reporter. She does a very good job. She's big for the soccer community here, but she's going places. Absolutely. But again, thank you for those who are buying us a coffee on buymeacoffee.com. Again, the Acquired Taste. You can send us a tip if you'd like. We would be happy to send you a thank you. Also, a big thank you to Cynthia J. Sanchez. She is of J. Parr Real Estate. She is the realtor for the Acquired Taste Network. There's her number, 210-273-0748. Cynthia J. Sanchez is my personal realtor. She found me my home. And one of the things that I thought was funny, not so much funny, I found it to be interesting, was the fact that you can go to realtor.com and you can leave a review of the realtor that you worked with. Okay, no different than a restaurant, no different than an Uber driver, right? You can leave a review. And there were 2 reviews that she got this past week for houses that she sold in the past month. Both of them were 5 stars across the board. One, I'm going to read you one of them right now. It says, quote, I was referred to Cynthia by a friend, and she was wonderful from the start to finish. Throughout the process, she has been patient, understanding, and attentive to what I was looking for. Cynthia is very knowledgeable and provides a lot of insight when viewing a property. Her communication is quick, is great, and she's quick to respond. I would definitely recommend Cynthia J. Sanchez and work with her again without hesitation. Cynthia J. Sanchez, real estate agent, 210-273-0748. If you're buying a house, selling a house, you're looking for that rental, if you're looking for that type of Airbnb type of investment, you can go to Cynthia J. Sanchez, 210-273-0748. With Carolina Teague of A League of Her Own podcast. When's your next show?
Tomorrow.
Hey, Carolina, when's your next show?
Tomorrow. Can you hear me?
Tomorrow. Okay, there you go. Oh, sorry, you kind of froze there for a minute there. I can hear you now. Yeah, you froze there for a second. No big deal. But training camp begins this week in the NFL. Players have reported the Cowboys are in Oxnard, California. What we're going to do now is talk about the NFL right now. And Carolina, let's grab the crystal ball. Let's talk about some players, maybe some teams that you think will take a leap, and some players and teams that you think might actually tumble this year. Who do you got?
The Chicago Bears are going to take a leap. And the reason why I say this.
Oh, my God, you freaking homer. You homer.
You can call me whatever you'd like.
Just coming in and out. Hey, Carolina, you
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay, go ahead. Go ahead. You're back on.
You're calling me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Call me whatever you'd like, but at the end of the day, I am very realistic, and I do know exactly where the Chicago Bears stand. Everybody thinks that they were. Once you are at the bottom of the barrel like they were last season, the only way you can go is up if you make the right moves. The Chicago Bears had the number 1 pick. They decided to trade it off. They started to trade that off that pick, and they got DJ Moore. They have more weapons on their wide receiver core. Justin Fields last season, he's a player I think who's going to throw this year in the passing game, because although he was criticized heavily because there was a lack of passing, but he had a great run game, which is pretty sad for a quarterback. It's because he didn't have the weapons around him so that way he could be utilized. You could easily say that Darnell Mooney was one of the good wide receivers on the team, but he was injured up halfway through the season. So he had to deal with his injuries. Then you had Chase Claypool, who really didn't do much. You see them make the trade for DJ Moore. They put more weapons around him on the offensive line so he can have more protection. And he's not only good in the running game because he's strong and effective and he can push through the ball. It's hard for players to tackle him. But I think we'll also see an improvement on his passing game as well because of how the Chicago Bears improved around him.
I think that the Bears are going to have a better season this year. I mean, they were 3-14 last year. I see them being 12-5? No, but can I see them getting to 7 or 8 wins? I think that's a possibility. I mean, there are a lot of people who are just Justin Fields haters, the same way that people were haters for Jalen Hurts, and they're like, "Oh, he sucks." That was the whole thing from Cowboy fan last year. Oh man, he sucks. No, he doesn't. He needed some seasoning, and I can see the Bears being a better team. There are a couple of teams that I really like this year. The Seattle Seahawks. I've talked about it several times. They're my team to come out of the NFC. And it's not even my dark horse. That's the one that I look at and I think to myself, they've got it. They've just got all the players that they need at the right positions, and they've got a quarterback that doesn't mess up. Mm-hmm. So I like the Seahawks this year. I kind of think that the Niners are going to take a step backwards this year. I don't trust their quarterback play this year. And I can kind of see both the Cowboys and Eagles being better this year, but winning fewer games. I can see the Cowboys being a better team, but being 11-6. I can see the Eagles being a better team and being 11-6, 12-5, because they have such a hard schedule this year. But as far as players are concerned, the rise up, the fall down, this is going to be Trevor Lawrence's year. Trevor Lawrence is going to be in the MVP consideration this year. That is a team that is going to blow up this year. That's a guy that's going to throw for 4,600 yards, and he is going to ball out. Mm-hmm. Now, the fall-off's probably going to be in the running back position for me. Dalvin Cook. I know Dalvin's been crying for a contract, but there's a reason why they don't want to pay you, because this is the type of the season. Once you get to about 27, 28, 29 years old, you fall off a cliff, and I see certain running backs falling off that cliff. Maybe, just maybe, Saquon Barkley falls off the cliff a little bit too. Saquon signed a new contract today, $11 million. He was offered the franchise tag. They slapped the tag on him for 10.1. He got pissed off. They gave him 11 plus a $2 million signing bonus, so at least he got more scratch. I'm happy for him when it comes to that. The Broncos, I don't buy. Sean Payton's there. I love Sean Payton, but Russell Wilson's under center. He sucks. Other players to kind of like take a leap or take a fall. Dare I say Aaron Rodgers taking a fall? Like, if you told me that the Jets were going to go 12-5 and win the AFC East, I'd believe you. But if you told me that they would go 5-12 and he'd be pouting the entire year, I'd also believe you. That's a tough conference to be in. Mm-hmm. So if I had a bet on a player to fall that's a quarterback, a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers might be a good bet.
I'm right there with you. I agree with you 100%. And not to mention a team that I think is also going to regress, since we're talking about regression, it's also going to be the Green Bay Packers. And I'm not.
You don't believe in Jordan Love?
No. And here's the thing. Green Bay was the best third down team. The third best team at avoiding third downs last season. And the reason for that is because of Aaron Rodgers. Is Jordan Love going to be that effective on the field and allowing them to get past the third down so that way they can get more touchdowns, make more points, win more games? I don't think so. So in that area itself is going to be a regression. Who's to say how effective Jordan Love's going to be on the field? But I think that's a key component as to why they're not going to be as effective as they were last season as this season. So it's going to be a crazy switch in the NFC North, and I'm excited to see, what's going to happen from there.
We got some Cowboy haters coming out the woodwork here.
Story of your life.
Jonathan C. says a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers is better than a healthy Dak Prescott. That is some hate right there.
Well,
man.
You know what? If he's going to bring the hate, you got to back it up with facts. So I'm going to go ahead and hit him with some facts. So I've been waiting to play this graphic here. So we're talking about Dallas Cowboys right now. It says quarterback with the best third down conversion rate on third and over 5. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes, 44%.
Yeah.
Number 2, Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys at 43%. Number 3 on the list, Tua Tagovailoa at 40%. Then you have Jimmy Garoppolo at 38%. Trevor Lawrence, 37. 6 is Jared Goff at 35. 7, Joey Burrow with 34%. And then they have honorable mentions. Josh Allen at 31%. Jalen Hurts, 31%. Derek Carr at 31%.
Yeah, I'm going to say this about that stat, though. Can they take out the junk points and the junk drives? That's the thing. Like, there's so many games where Dak Prescott throws for like 100 yards the first 3 quarters, but gets 200 yards in the fourth quarter because they're down 17 and the other team is playing prevent defense. I mean, some of these stats are hollow. They really are. And Dak Prescott is a good NFL quarterback.
No,
he's not a great one.
He's not great.
He's not bad. He's slightly above average. He's probably the 9th or 10th best quarterback in the league. He is who he is. He's not going to get any better. The dude's 30 years old. He led the league in interceptions last year. It just is what it is when it comes to Dak Prescott. And we're now to believe that Mike McCarthy calling the plays is going to make things better when, by the way, their schedule is significantly harder than what it was last year. Don't buy it. This team might be 10-7, be better, but 10-7 when it's all said and done. I don't know, man. This is going to be a weird season, but I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it a lot. With Carolina Teague from A League of Her Own podcast, you know, I bet you she likes to karaoke. I bet you that she goes out there and karaoke's because there's going to be a karaoke night this Thursday at Serenity Manor. It's an events venue on Old Bandera Road right across from Floor's Country Store. Go check that out from 6 to 10 p.m., though last time they went to 11. Wow. 6 to 10 p.m., it's family karaoke night. So you can take the kids if you want, take your teens if you want, go karaoke, go have something to eat. SA Curbside Eats will be there on Thursday. Case area can Bobby Brown. Again, they're going to do karaoke night every other Thursday night, but it's happening this Thursday over there at Serenity Manor. The address right there, 14405 Old Bandera Road in Helotes, 14405 Old Bandera Road. I really enjoyed it. We had a lot of listeners that showed up as well. It was a good time. We had about 60, 70 people out there, man. Wasn't bad at all. Hey, by the way, they're also going to have an open market there on August 19th and 20th. If you want to go or if you want to sell your stuff, reach out to them. Again, it's the 19th and 20th. They have tables that you can have inside the building or outside the building. Artisans, crafters, bakers, those who make clothes, pet treats, and more. Reach out to Serenity Manor if you want to take part, or reach out to me, and I'll get you in touch with the people. Man, it's a beautiful venue. Thank you for showing those photos right there. Look at that venue right there. Just indoor, outdoor. You can have weddings out there, quinceañeras. You can have family reunions, corporate events. They do the karaoke in that big room right there. There's a bar off to the side that does beer, wine, and margaritas. But I got to ask you, Carolina Teague, the last time you karaoke'd, what song did you do?
Oh, I always do the same song. I always do Notorious B.I.G., More Money, More Problems.
Nice.
Man. But give us a location. You said that. I like to make fun of your cousin because he says it's kitty corner.
Yeah, my cousin says it's kitty corner. Kitty corner, dude. Got kitty corner. Now, Carolina, if you and I were to go karaoke, you know, it would have to be like a Kelly Rowland song with like, didn't she sing a song with Nelly? So Kelly,
way back in the
way
day.
back, you know,
Dilemma.
No, Dilemma, right? No matter what I do. Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
She ready right now, man.
So yeah, I think we would do that song, or even like I've always wanted to sing "Knockin' Boots" by Candyman, but I have no girl to sing the "Ooh Boy I Love You So."
Never ever want to let you go. I got a song for us too, Jimenez. We could do Cameron. Hey ma, what's up? Let's
we gotta get it on tonight.
You smoke, I smoke, I drink. Me too.
Me too.
Look good, because we gonna get it tonight. I love karaoke.
There you go. That is Carolina Teague. Hey, we talk sports, pop culture, and nostalgia over here. And this is neither pop culture. This is not nostalgia. It's just kind of a funky story. Who here? Raise your hand if you heard of the name Carlee Russell this past couple of weeks. Carlee Russell from Alabama. 25 years old, made all the news that she had been kidnapped, right? There was a police search for her. There was, all these search teams looking for her. More than $60,000 raised on GoFundMe to help with the search efforts to figure out what happened. She called 911 and said that there was a toddler on the interstate and that she was pulling over off the side of the road to go help that toddler out. And then she just disappeared. And then 2.5 days later, just rolls up into her own house. Like nothing happened. Now police said this whole thing was a hoax.
Wow, man.
So we got to talk about this for a little bit here, okay? Because, by the way, those who donated money, over $60,000, that money is not going to be returned until the investigation is over, whenever that's going to be, right? You were following this story, Carolina. What were your thoughts when you heard about this?
It doesn't surprise me. Like, people do weird stuff all the time. And I don't know. I just thought that it was a little bit strange. I mean, obviously I believe that a lot of Black women go missing every year. So I understand why people jumped on it and took it really seriously. But for actual victims of crimes like this, it really makes people weary of, should they go search for a person or not? And people shouldn't have to feel like that. There was also a story in Dallas where a couple turned in a call 911 to get a reward for pulling over a top 10 fugitive, and he was promptly arrested. Well, Crime Stoppers didn't want to give them the reward because they called 911 before they called Crime Stoppers. But they were adamant that if they would have called Crime Stoppers first, then he would have gotten away. So stories like this really discourage the public from doing the right thing. And I don't think it should discourage people. It's actually a shame that, people do things like this, and she should be punished. I think people should get punished when they make up lies.
The number of African-American women that I saw on TikTok this past weekend who were so angry, saying, how could you do this? Right? Because again, like you said, when people go missing, it's typically the African-American women that get neglected when it comes to that, as far as media coverage is concerned and public awareness. So I can see why there's people who are upset with her. She doesn't say where she went. The speculation out there, and it's just speculation, that maybe she was with some other dude. Her boyfriend initially said that she stood by her, but is now kind of, going back and forth when it comes to that.
Yeah, like, where were you at? And then also there was a story about a Caucasian sports reporter in Texas who covered Texas A&M a few years back who went missing as well, but really she never was missing. And people were also getting on her, like, she got all this mass media coverage and, you weren't actually missing. It just really puts a damper on women who actually go missing, women who are victims of sex trafficking, women who are victims of crimes. And it's not okay that people put these women or these men who create these false reports that they're missing do this to their family members and people who really love them. It's not okay at all.
No, it's not okay. I hope she gets charged with something.
Get charged with something. Get charged with lying and using
false police reporters or false reporting or
something
to that effect. Yeah. Now let's have a little bit of fun with this.
Yeah, okay. I'm ready.
Okay, because I'm married. Rumor has it you're taken too. Rumor has it. Okay. You disappear for 48 to 60 hours. You don't answer your phone. No one knows where you are. You didn't tell anybody where you were going. You were just going to bounce for 60 hours. Where is Carolina Teague going?
So my first question to you is, what is my budget? What's my budget?
Okay, let's go ahead and say the first budget is $1,000 and it has to be a staycation. Okay. The second one is you got $5,000 and you can go wherever you want to go with that $5,000.
Staycation. I'm going to be here in San Antonio, hiding out downtown near Tobin Hill. And well, actually, I'll be found pretty quickly there. I think I'm going to go to Wimberley so nobody can find me.
You took my answer.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna. Oh well, great. That is not a great hiding spot. If that was your pick too.
You could just go hang out at Kirby.
I didn't realize she was so bougie to say Wimberley. I was afraid that people were gonna call me moneybags for it.
Well, that's the last place you'd find me because I'm usually in Kirby, you know. So
Just go hang out at the Kirby. Was it that Kirby event center they have? The bowling alley where everybody smokes.
I had my baby shower at the Kirby event center.
And you're gonna get secondhand smoke over there, girl. Everybody's always smoking in there.
So what are you doing in Wimberley out there?
I'm gonna go, just stay in a little cabin and eat breakfast and do a little spa thing for myself. Just spa myself out and just relax and unplug and just be away from everything and everybody. And then I'll just pop back up refreshed 60 hours later.
That's what I would do too. My wife and I have gone to Wimberley to have the cottages over there. God, it's expensive. But we'll do it for a couple of days out there because, a nice hotel, it's right around the same price, but you're secluded. We like going when it's like 30 degrees outside, and then we get in the hot tub outside. So it's like hot, but it's also cold at the same time. It's a great time. My wife and I go there all the time because we go during her birthday in December. And that's the thing. It's just kind of chilly when we're out there. Now, if I had a $5,000 budget when it came to all this, you'd probably find me slumped over someplace in Vegas. I would be at some casino. I'd be at Planet Hollywood in Vegas with the Venetian. 5,000 might not get me far though. But I'd be there.
I'd be in Mexico, man. You can live like a king over there for that much.
But it's not it's not. I mean, you can go to Vegas on a 2-hour flight.
I thought about Vegas because I love Vegas so much, but it is pricey. And 5,000 isn't too much if you're trying to ball out. I'd fly to, I don't know, I would say probably somewhere, I would say like Thailand. If I had, give me a little bit more than 60 hours, I would fly to Thailand and I would get one. This is viral on TikTok. You guys need to go look it up. It's these Chinese spa head scalp massages. They spend like 80 minutes rubbing your scalp and massaging you and washing your hair, and then they blow dry. It just looks so relaxing. I would go do that, and it's only $8 in Thailand. And then I would also splurge on massages and be in some cool Airbnb, and then I'd come back home and then pretend like nothing happened. Basically, I'm gonna relax the whole time.
But man, you go to Thailand, you might not come back for real, man.
My wife and I went to Dallas one day. It was just like we had no plans. We just went out there. She's gone to a place called King Spa with her friends. Apparently, it's this massive spa complex over there where they have pools and these streams like indoors and all that. So she's done that before. But one time she and I went to Dallas and we're just enjoying the day over there, and we decided to get massages. So she goes, let's do a massage. We had nothing planned. We have no idea where we're at. We're downtown. We go to this one place where they take us in this one building, and it was sketch, man. It was a sketchy building, and it was a massage parlor in there. And I was thinking to myself, I hope it's not one of the bad ones, right? That's all I need. But at least my wife is with me, right? We get a couples massage. This lady jumps on top of me. I'm on my stomach, and she's grabbing this pole that's horizontal on the ceiling, and she's walking up and down my back with this thing on, and she's like jumping back and forth on me, and my wife was laying down right next to me watching, laughing her ass off at what she was seeing. She goes, "You look so scared," and I'm like, I don't know what the hell she's doing. She's doing Cirque du Soleil up in the air, and but no, that was my my massage experience over there in Dallas. But that whole Carlee Russell thing. Ugh. Hey, one last thing, by the way. Ooh. The lights go out?
I guess.
Oh, I thought you guys were doing a cool new trick.
No. It has a mind of its own today, man. Everything here is controlled by Wi-Fi. So something happened right now where the app actually glitched.
I think tomorrow we'll go on to Dr. Roxy. Or do we want to talk about Dr. Roxy real fast? Oh my God. If you haven't followed that story, Dr. Roxy in Ohio lost her medical license. She's a plastic surgeon over there, 800,000 TikTok followers. And she was doing surgeries while on TikTok Live. and 3 of them were botched.
No.
Yeah, I saw that on TikTok too. See, we need to get off TikTok. That's what all this time. We need to get off TikTok. I saw that Dr. Roxy thing, and one of the ladies, she made a decision to get life-altering plastic surgery, all because she saw her viral TikToks and she thought she was a cool doctor. Well, now her boobie right here is a huge hole for the rest of her life, and other plastic surgeons they cannot fix it. So she's botched for life, and that is why she got her license removed, because of that botched lady who didn't do her due diligence and didn't do her homework, and now she has to live with a circle under her titty for the rest of her life.
And it was crazy because she was talking to the camera when she did that incision. That is Carolina Teague of A League of Her Own podcast. You have your show tomorrow. What time is it tomorrow?
So my podcast usually comes on around 7 o'clock. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on YouTube. We're trying to make the transition to YouTube so we can get to the 500 subscribers like you guys. And I'm almost at that mark, so I'm really excited. We're about at 315, I think, which is great because we had 200 less than about 2 weeks ago. So we're doing really good on that. And we're not a daily podcast like you guys, but we are a weekly podcast, and we do want to continue to, do stuff. And then my interview with Pitbull Cruz, I wasn't able to edit it because I was sick with the Saharan dust, but I am coming back with my Pitbull Cruz interview. He's going to be on the co-main event this Saturday with Spence and Crawford through Showtime. So my interview with him is going to come out. I'm really excited to do that. So I love Pitbull Cruz, one of my favorite fighters right now. And in boxing, he's one of the only few handful of people that Tank said he would rematch if he could. So those are that's coming out. I'm really excited. Follow me on my podcast. And don't forget, I also have Buy Me a Pizza. So if y'all want me to get fat, buy me a pizza, buy me a slice of pizza, buymeacoffee.com/Carolina Teague.
Yeah, I'll buy you a big old slice of that Big Lou's pizza, the one that's like the size of the plate.
There you go. That is Carolina Teague, my girl, CT in the house. Have a great day. She has some very good karaoke choices that we need to.
She did.
We need to follow up on.
I'm the queen of karaoke. I need to go out to that event center. I'm telling you right now, I know how to shut it down. Every time I make karaoke, it's a wrap. So I'll see y'all later.
Yeah, someone just recommended that we sing My Boo, by the way. That was a song that they recommended.
Let's do it. I'm down for whatever. If you buy me a coffee, I'll sing you My Boo all day long. You gonna be my boo if you buy me a coffee, straight up.
That is
Bye,
Carolina Teague. Ben, I see that comment from Locked On Spurs, Jeff Garcia, Ken's 5. I don't wear a top hat, fellas.
Look at that.
No, come on.
Come on, man.
A little bit of a monocle, though, man.
You know what? Just because you said that? Yeah, you do. There it is, man. There it is. Quit lying, man.
Don't forget to subscribe to our guy, Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs, Ken's 5. Lots of content. Lots of people going after Victor Wembanyama we discussed in our show. But, again, you can also subscribe to him on YouTube. Subscribe to him on Twitter as well and on Spotify. And by the way, like and subscribe us, by the way. I'm looking at the numbers right now. We have over 500 subscribers in 5 weeks. 500 subscribers, 541 to be exact. 2,221 viewing hours. Once we get to 3,000, we can start to monetize this thing on YouTube. So thank you to everyone who watches, especially if you watch over long periods of time. You can also subscribe to us on Spotify as well. Just look up The Acquired Taste, and you'll find our MJ logo right there. Again, buy us a beer if you like. The QR code is up. It's just tipping me and Joe. Just tipping me and Joe, saying you like what we do. You want to keep us going. It's kind of your way of sponsoring us without sponsoring us.
Yeah.
Again, support us by doing buymeacoffee.com/acquired taste. Carolina Teague did a fantastic job. That's what we do Tuesdays with Teague.
Yeah, and let's give a quick shout out to Frank, friend of the show here.
Yeah.
He was saying that his good friend just passed away days ago while he was going for his usual run at 9 a.m. He collapsed. Said last week we were hooping, talking, hanging at Harlandale Alumni Basketball Tournament. He says a week later, this happened, man. So sorry, man, for your loss.
My condolences, Frank. And I know a lot of people on the thread were also sending condolences to you as well. That's a scary thing, man. It's a scary thing. I found out yesterday that a colleague of mine that I had been working with a couple of years ago had passed away. I was going to go visit him. I was like, you know what? I haven't seen this guy in a long time. And I dropped by his office and he wasn't there. The reason why he wasn't there was because he had passed away and I had no idea. He had passed away a while back. But it's a very, very scary thing. You never know when you're going to see somebody for the last time. Lots of people saying that TikTok is an addiction. It is an addiction. Silent saying that he got off a long time ago. I like TikTok. I really do. But I tend to do history, comedy, sports. I gotta admit it, the occasional hottie. That's my TikTok is what it is. But this has been a fun show. We'll be back tomorrow. Thank you again for supporting us, and thank you again to our new sponsors for the Fantasy Gods, talking about Matt Pecker Brewery. You know, we've got Mudslingers and Bear County Social all coming on board for that as well. In talks to begin another podcast, a third one as well. So Lots going on here with the Acquired Taste Network. That is Joe Garcia. My name is Mike Jimenez. Hope everyone has a fantastic day, a fantastic evening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and please share what we do. Y'all take care.